Alright, so here's how I got into this show. A couple weeks ago, my mom, my brother, and I, we went to go see Wicked. Side note, if you've never seen Wicked, honest to God, go see it, it's phenomenal. So anyway, we're on our way there, we're downtown, and during the drive, I look up and I see this billboard for a show called Siren, and on its own, the billboard sold me. Because I took one look at it and I was like, that looks really cool. I want to watch that. And thank God Hulu has it. So I started watching it. And 10 episodes later, I'm now a fan. Siren, Season 1. So Siren is a show on Freeform. Season 1 premiered last March, and it's about mermaids. But before you get uninterested, let me tell you why the show is awesome. Warning though, I am going to talk about some spoilers in this show because I'm going to want to. So you've been warned. It is just Season 1, Season 2 premieres tomorrow night, so the show is just getting started. So Siren takes place in a fictional town up in Washington called Bristol Cove. And you know how a lot of towns are really proud of having one thing that's unique about them? It's like the thing they'll throw festivals about. Well, Bristol Cove calls itself the mermaid capital of the world. This town is rich with lore about mermaids and legends and myths and stories passed down through the generations. Ben Pownell is one of the main characters. He's a descendant of the family that founded this town, and he works at the Bristol Cove Marine Biology Research Center with his girlfriend Maddie. And they're living their lives and they're fine, but then one fateful day, a girl shows up out of nowhere. She seems confused. She doesn't seem to be from around here. Yeah, turns out she's a mermaid who goes by the name Rin. Like Siren, you get it. She eventually makes her way to Ben and Maddie, they take her in, and then the story goes from there. This show's story is very similar to like The Iron Giant or E.T. or Bumblebee or Stranger Things. You have like a creature or a thing that is not from this world, and this thing meets our main characters, they form a bond, but then the government's after it. However, I've always loved that story, and it's done really, really well in this show. Because it turns out the government or the military or whatever, they've captured another mermaid who turns out to be Rin's sister. This is actually the reason that Rin came onto the service, to find her. Honestly though, one of the biggest things that makes this show so great, at least to me, are the Rin moments. Those small moments where Rin is discovering things about our world. Those moments really help you become attached emotionally to Rin. You end up really liking her and caring about her. It doesn't hurt that she's attractive. Eileen Powell, that's the actress's name, she does a really good job at conveying that Rin is really a newbie to human society. And also to human speech. In the first few episodes of the show, her English is very broken, but these mermaids are super intelligent, so she catches on really quick. By the end of the season, she's speaking, complete English sentences. That could be seen as too fast. Caesar took 3 movies to learn complete English. But I didn't really see it that way. I was just impressed at how well Rin caught on to the English language. Let's be honest, Rin really is the selling point of the show. That's why she's on the poster. But the bond she builds with Ben and Maddie is also really good, because while Rin learns more about human society, Ben and Maddie and a couple of their friends, they learn about Rin and where she comes from. At this point, I had to talk about Helen because she's a great character. She's kind of seen as the village crazy lady, like the grandma in Moana or something. She seems to know a lot more about mermaid lore than she's letting on at first, and she ends up providing a lot of help when it comes to understanding what Rin is trying to do. Another thing that's great about this show is that it's pretty violent. This is the darkest take on mermaids I've ever seen. In most lore that I know anyway, mermaids are predators. They lure sailors in with their song, and then they rip them to shreds once they get them in the water. First episode of this season, Rin is out exploring, and some guy tries to take advantage of her in his car. Next thing you know, you see him crash through the window. He's dead. There's blood everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, geez. It's that kind of show. Awesome! Now, the show's not all about the violence, nor is it all about the action. It's more about the characters and the message the show is trying to convey, which, is an environmental message about the oceans. But it weaves it into the story in a really good way, because the whole reason that Rin's sister got captured in the first place is because they were near the surface hunting for food, because there's no food where they usually live. They had to go outside of their safe zone to hunt for food. And Rin's sister, who ends up going by the name Donna, got captured, thus kickstarting this whole story. One thing this show did to the mermaids that I actually wasn't a huge fan of is that they gave them super strength. It made the action exciting, but honestly, at some points it made it seem a bit comic booky, especially when, mermaid and mermaid are fighting each other, which the end of the season, it's pretty awesome. I can't really talk about the finale without talking about the episode before it, because that's where all the shit goes down. Donna shows up with these 2 other mer people, and they've come to bring Rin back, or so it seems. But the bond that Rin has formed with Ben and Maddie has grown so strong at this point that Rin wants to stay, and she's not used to having a say in the matter. So this is really the first time she's gonna stand up for herself and say, no, this is my choice, I want to stay here. So when Donna and those 2 other mer people show up, you would expect there would be a bit of a throwdown. But Rin doesn't want a throwdown, so she's like, alright, I'll go back with you. But then it turns out those 2 other mer people, yeah, they don't want to bring her back. They want Rin dead. So yeah, we have a bit of a throwdown. And it's awesome because Rin really takes charge. You see her with that anchor thing that she spins around and she throws, and I was like, that is awesome. And then, oh, of course, I totally forgot to mention this. There's another character in the show named Xander. He's one of Ben's shipmate buddies. I think it was episode either 7 or 8 where Xander's father got straight up murdered by a merman. So now Xander's on a revenge quest. So in episode 9, where all these mermaids are throwing down with each other, Xander shows up with his gun. But you know, we don't want anyone to die. But Xander's just blinded by hatred. So he's about to shoot, but then Ben tackles him, so his shot misses. He was gonna shoot the merman that killed his father, but he ends up hitting Donna instead. When I saw that happen in the show for the first time, I was like, oh no. Because at this point, Donna was on Rin's side. It was those two against the other two mer people who wanted to kill Rin. So when Donna ended up getting shot, like right through the gut, it sucked. And then that goes right into the season finale. They're trying to save Donna, but it's no use. Donna ends up dying, and it's sad. See, this episode is really the aftermath of the big throwdown in episode 9. In fact, the finale is called Aftermath. Donna dies of her wound. So when they go to bury her, Helen takes them to this, like, hidden burial ground in the woods and explains the real story of that mermaid massacre that happened all those years ago. And it turns out that Helen is the last descendant of the original founder of Bristol Cove and his mermaid lover. So through the generations, Helen is 1/8 mermaid, and also since she's a descendant of the Pownall family, she and Ben are related. I just think that's really cool. Oh, and then you have Decker. Alden Decker was the military scientist who was studying Donna when she was captured. Donna sang her Siren song to him, so he ended up getting a little obsessed. So when Donna was dying, he just wanted to hear the song one last time, but he wasn't gonna get it. No chance in hell. So he ends up pretty much going insane, and then he offs himself. I didn't really feel bad about that because throughout the season, I was just thinking, this guy's a weirdo. So when we saw him dead on the beach, I was like, good riddance. But it turns out that Ben is going through the same thing because way in the beginning of the season when he first met Rin, she sang her song to him as well. So now slowly but surely, Ben is also getting a little obsessed. He ends up taking a boat like out into the water because he thinks he hears Rin's song and ends up diving in. He gets saved by Rin, but originally Rin wasn't there. He was hearing that song in his head because he was getting too obsessed. It was causing a strain on his relationship with Maddie. It was getting pretty bad for him, and Rin was starting to notice. She didn't even know that siren songs have that effect on people. So ultimately, she decides to keep her distance from Ben for the time being, because that's what would be good for him. And I kind of agree. Yeah, Ben needs some time to calm down, stop diving into lakes thinking you hear Rin's song, because that was crazy. But then, like a lot of these shows, you end up thinking, when is this inevitable romance between Ben and Rin gonna start? Be honest, you know, it just seems inevitable, because that's where a show like this would go. They've already kissed a couple times, which actually is kind of funny, because Rin doesn't really understand the concept of romance yet, so when she sees Ben and Maddie kissing, she just sees it as a sign of friendship or whatever. So she just plants one on Ben right in front of Maddie, and Ben's like, okay, that just happened. That was funny. Ultimately, that's what really makes this show for me, is the chemistry between the characters. I love Rin. She's a great headliner character for the show. I'm looking forward to seeing where her relationships with Ben and Maddie go. I'm looking forward to seeing what Helen's gonna do next season now that we know a little more about her. And I also really like the music in this show. It was written by composer Michael A. Levine, and like the main theme of the show that plays during the credits is the Siren song, vocals by Mariana Barreto. And if you ask me, it kind of sounds like Leia's theme. Like if you really listen to it, it's like the same melody as Leia's theme from Star Wars. It's, I don't know, I just made that connection. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that depends on how you want to see it. But the vocals are very prominent in the score, and I really like that. So in the end, Siren is a fantastic show. Again, it's all about the characters, and the writing is really good. Those last 2 episodes were straight up awesome. Season 2 premieres Thursday night on Freeform at 8 o'clock. I'll be watching it. There are actually a few different TV shows that I'm looking forward to in the next, like, month or two. I'm behind on The Gifted Season 2. I have to catch up on that. I'm looking forward to watching Doom Patrol on DC Universe, and that miniseries I Am the Night that Patty Jenkins is doing with Chris Pine about the Black Dahlia murder. That looks pretty cool too. So yeah. TV. So Siren Season 1, have you watched it? What did you think about it? And are you looking forward to Season 2? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.